today on part-time builds. Me and my wife took our kids to a Easter event, and there was one of these mowers pulling around a train ride for kids. And my wife had a brilliant idea and said, honey, I think you could build one of those. And me being who I am, I said, we just happen to have a mower sitting in the weeds at the house, so might as well. Backstory behind this mower is when we first moved into this house, spent all our money to move, we got this mower for free from a friend. Used it for 2 years. Never did any kind of maintenance to it. I think I changed one belt over the time I owned it. And then the problem is it started slipping real bad. The main drive belt started going out and it started slipping. And by then, I just didn't want to get into it. You gotta take this thing all the way apart. And I ended up buying a 0-turn. So now we just had this mower sitting here, ran when parked. Y'all know how that goes. But just didn't cut very well. I'd have to go over the yard about 7-8 times. But so I think it'd be perfect if we can turn it into something fun for the kids. The whole goal for this build is budget friendly, low budget. Try to use just stuff I have lying around the house. I got some angle iron sitting out on an old trailer I can use. The only thing I'm probably gonna have to get is some barrels to use for the actual carts themselves, and then some maintenance stuff for this. I'll probably have to address that pulley if I can get it running again. It's been sitting, I don't know if I said, but probably about 3 years now. So all the fuel line needs to be replaced, so which ain't much because the tank's right there. So I'll address that, change the fuel line. I'll change the oil from it sitting. Looking to get the new breather, and it's a Briggs & Strat, so luckily these things just run. The first thing you're gonna see me doing is I'm gonna try to just get it to fire up. I'm gonna unhook the fuel line, take the breather off, put some starter fluid in there, put a jump pack on the battery, and see if she'll fire. If she fires, that gives me hope, and we'll keep moving. Okay guys, as you can see there, got her to fire up on starter fluid. I have the fuel disconnected so I don't suck up. There's barely any gas in the tank, but didn't want to suck anything up, and it's pretty nasty. So disconnected that, took the breather out, sprayed starter fluid. I was checking voltage, make sure I was getting it to the starter because it was locked up at first, but hooked my jumper cables up and just jumped the starter, and that freed that up. Some other rig stuff I got going on here is I got a jump pack on the battery. And then I got safety switches locked out here and the brake one underneath. But I think I just wanted to get it to run before putting any more work into it. And complete transparency here, I took about a 3-hour break from this because I hooked the battery up to my little Tender charger to see if I could get it to hold a charging. It said it did, but it still wasn't quite enough to crank it, so I had to hook up the jump box. So I think that constitutes putting new fuel lines on it, draining the tank, and possibly, if this battery won't hold a charge, getting a new battery for it, and then we'll work on getting this off. So I'll keep y'all updated. All right, guys, so got the fuel tank out. Look at that nasty crap right there. Think I'm gonna take it back out, try to scrape some of this, and then wash it out outside. Get it out of there, you know, before I get too far into it. And then you can see now why I stopped using this thing. That right there is the drive belt, and it slips like crazy. So that'll need to be addressed before it becomes a choo-choo train. But I just want to give you all an update. We got that out, and we got all them crusty fuel lines off. You can see I put a close-up of those, but hopefully the little vacuum pump deal still works. It started and ran with the starter fluid. Hoping I ain't got to mess with the carb. These old Briggs and Strat, they like to run, so I'm hoping I don't have to mess with it too much, guys. If it acts up, I'll obviously take it apart, clean it. It ain't gonna be that hard, and even if I have to, the bowl's right there, I can drop it with it still on there. But I'm hoping just to put fuel to this little mower and get her to start. Fuel tank sitting here. She was filthy on the backside too. I probably washed this while I got it off. Pretty gross inside there. You can see there's trash and stuff floating around, so I'm gonna clean that all out, give it a fighting chance. So I'll be back hopefully with a cleaner mower. After washing it though, I think we're gonna have a change of plans on what I said in the other video, the other edit. There's no need in putting the tank back on and seeing if it'll fire up if I gotta take all this stuff off just to get to that belt. As you can see, that steering column runs right through the middle of this belt, and that was the main reason for me not worrying about it. It was a free mower and we needed another one anyway, so I went and got a 0-turn. But that was the main reason why, was I did not want to take this free mower all the way apart with the raggedy old deck on it all loose and worn out. I didn't want to mess with it, so that's why it got parked in the weeds and it stayed there. But I'm thinking now we're going to work on getting the deck off and seeing what all I need to take off to change out that, and see if I can get it out in one piece. If not, I'll cut it, but I'd like to take it out in one piece so I know how to get the new one in. And we can take it tomorrow or tonight and get a new one, and then I'll show you guys me putting that in, and then we'll get it fired up, and then I'll actually be able to drive this thing. There's no point in doing all this work just to do it all again. So I'll put you on the tripod and we'll get going on pulling the deck. Y'all can see, got the dugout. You ever done a job? Yeah, that shouldn't be too bad. Just only C-clip, little Carter keys and stuff. That should be easy. And then you get done and you're bleeding and you wonder what happened. That was one of them jobs right there. That thing beat the hell out of me, and it shouldn't have been that hard. I fought this C-clip back here. Freaking, if I can even check right here, you can see where I had to get the little die grinder out and cut the Carter key out. Sorry, I had to cut that thing off. But anyway, we're under it. I got a good view of this dry belt and how bad it really is. So there we go. It looks like I just need to take this pulley loose to get some room here. Take this spring and possibly this pulley, because it's up against that bracket too. So that's what I'm about to work on. And then I don't see much here, but it is gonna suck when I have to go feed that belt, that pulley through there, because it's looking like it's gonna have to go around this big pulley. My mud and water dropping on my face, but I have to go around that big pulley, fish up, and then fish through this little hole, and I'm gonna have to pull the slack back before I do any of that. So that should be freaking great. But anyway, I'm gonna try to get it out, and then I will update y'all after I get it off. I don't know if I'm gonna put y'all under here while I'm doing this. We'll see. Holy crap, guys. Wasn't that a chore? All right, so got the belt out, and my goodness. This is why frankly, I just wanted a new mower, but this was the big conversation with the wife on why I wanted it, because I did not want to do this job. And I forgot about it before I told my kids I'd make them a train. So naturally, I'm deep into it. That steering shaft, which right here, was a pain in the butt. 2 bolts were easy. 1/2-inch bolts getting them out. But that thing comes out of right there, and that teeth of the drive, the teeth in there, right there, just block it to where you can't get to the hole. So what I did is I loosened up that 1/2-inch nut, put a flathead in there, jammed it up against this pipe to wedge it out, and that gave me just enough room to come back up here. And you can't really move it too far because you got this hole here to fight it and wiggle it through that hole, get the belt out. The rest of the stuff came out easy. I did end up having to take the pulleys off. I take that whole bracket apart. There's all the hardware, and luckily I showed y'all what I did before, so now I know where all this crap goes. but just crap dripping and dirt in my eyes. But if anyone else has this mower, the Murray Select widebody, it's an old one. I think it was like a 2000 or something. I got for free because my buddy got a new mower and this thing was sitting in his garage forever. So it's out. Hopefully tomorrow or tonight, there's still some daylight though. We can run out, pick up a new belt, possibly a new battery. I got it on the trickle charger again. It's saying it's got 12 volts, but it ain't wanting to start it. But we'll pick up a new belt. We'll pick up, I'll probably get some numbers for the oil filter and stuff like that, and I'll just throw some Rotella I got over there in it. But I would like to change that oil filter because looking at it, it looks original, seeing how it still says Briggs & Strat on it. So need to get that changed out. Need to get the new drive belt on. We can get the gas tank back in and fuel lines, and hopefully we'll be able to rip this thing around tomorrow. And that'll probably, if I can get this thing running and riding around the yard, that'll probably be it for part one. And then part two will be the fun stuff, making the train, and the kids will enjoy that. The gas tank put back in. We got the new fuel line hooked up, new fuel filter. Still wondering if this is good. We're gonna find out here shortly. New breather, oil's been changed with new filter. The drive belt is on, and I forgot to mention earlier, but we put a new battery in it. So we're gonna see if she'll fire up. Fire right up. Alright, let's see if she'll fire up, move on her own power here. Not looking good. Alright, so full transparency that I'm an idiot. As you saw, that was a fail, and this is why. The unit was over here, which disengages the rear end. So the drive belt, everything was spinning. I just had the rear end disengaged. So pop that over. And now let's try. Try to keep this thing nice, you know, obviously. Let's see, moment of truth, is it getting too big? All right, we ready?
Yeah, you might want to put it in neutral. But it would have been impressive if it was in park and you was able to pull it. That's all.
Guys, we got a running Murray lawnmower that's been sitting for about 2-3 years now, and before I had it set for probably about 10 years. So everything worked good, and as you can see in the video, I pulled my 99 Grand Marquis with it that I'm in the process of going through the title application to get that as a rebuilt title. But that, I just looked up the vehicle weight. That thing weighs over 3,900 pounds. So if it can pull that, which it struggled, but it pulled it. If it can pull that, it can pull a bunch of kids. So I was worried I might have to re-gear it or something like that. But no, it's running good. It's actually quicker than I remember. And I think it looks pretty cool with that lawnmower deck off. So that'll probably be it for the first half of this video. And the second part will be, we'll start doing the barrels, the rides, the actual train actual carts for the train. And Mike already brought over some goodies for that. We got a leftover lawn rack, and he got a bunch of new wheels from Harbor Freight on sale for, how much you say, $6? $6 something a piece. So we got some wheels for our barrels. We just have to build some frames. But we're hoping, got some plans for a caboose, and we're hoping this will be it. I'll have to widen the axles, but we're mainly just needing the frame and then the steering mechanism. Put new tires on it, widen the axles, and put a box on it for a bench seat. But we'll wrap it up here, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks for joining us.